Cool. I'm very excited to talk to you. Fan of your work for a long time. Before we get into your new arcade game and your event, you're going to be doing Arcade Monsters here in Orlando coming up November 20th. Here at Bionic Buzz, we're all about people's passion. Where did your passion for video games come from that led you on this amazing career?
I'm afraid I have to disappoint. I don't have a passion for video games. I have a passion for entertaining. Video games was the medium I stumbled into, completely backed into it. I was a filmmaker in college and did daily cartoons for newspapers, always tongue in cheek, always whatever occurred to me, but people seemed to like it. And I backed into this industry and it became, and it was perfect for me. I mean, I was blessed. I can't pretend it was an intelligent decision that I made because I knew what I was doing. I answered an ad one day at Valley Midway because I had an animated film that won a lot of awards. And I thought I was going in for a backglass artist job. And they said, no, we want you to be an animator for video games. And I'm like, really? Pac-Man? People do that? And it's like, I didn't even really want the job, but it was time to be a grown up and you take it and grit your teeth. And within days, I was in love with it. I mean, within days, it's just like as an animator or even as a filmmaker, back then it's film, not even video. You work, you write, you draw, you film, you send it away, it comes back, you make a mistake months and months and months. And then there at Valley, I do something in the morning and I'm playing it in the afternoon. It was, it was so gratifying. I fell in love with it right away. Discitron was the first game I ever worked on.
Very cool.
It blew me away because I had no idea video games could do that much. So I've been hooked ever since. Well,
it kind of goes on my next question, though, because tell us the backstory of how Rampage got put together. I mean, as a kid, I loved cartoons. I loved monster movies. And this game came along in the arcade that was like all my passions rolled together. I could see how your film and cartoon, I guess, went into it,
Well, yeah, that was the film background. There's, one of the first cities in Rampage was Peoria because of my film background. It's, when you're working on a project in Hollywood, they always say, will it play in Peoria? So I figured that was good luck. But actually, the inspiration for the game was they told me I couldn't do something that I wanted to do. We were having a meeting and why can't we do background animations? I want to do big stuff. Other companies, no, Brian, we can't do it. And finally, we were in a meeting after a trade show and the one guy said, Brian, all you can do with our hardware is an animating rectangle. What are you going to do with an animating rectangle? So I turned to Sharon, one of the other artist designers, and said, okay. A building falling into itself is an animating rectangle. What knocks down buildings? Big monsters. So I can do big characters. I can show comedy. And that was kind of the turning point for me. That, we ran out. We were like, we've got next year's #1 game. And of course, our boss said no. And I went over his head, who loved it. And he said no, because you can't kill people. You can't make the guy the bad guy. And it eventually, just by coincidence, they changed upper management about a week later. Myself, programmer Jeff Nauman, we all started working on it anyway. And then the new management announced his first afternoon visit, said, I've got an open door policy. So you can probably guess who was waiting outside his door at 8:59 the next morning. And he blessed the project and it went on to break every earnings records of the day. And so it really wasn't so much about King Kong or the Ymir or the monsters as much as it was, I want to have fun. I want to show comedy. I want to make people laugh. Because I'm not.
That's what's so great about it. I mean, well, you got the guy in his underwear, the red dress lady. It's funny, and it's great because now my kids play it in the arcade 1-up and they love it too. So it's.
I love the fact that I didn't until just a couple of years ago. I didn't even know people remembered. And the fact that the movie came out, and the arcade 1-ups came out, and everything. It's just like this. You can't imagine how good this feels to know. When I see a grandfather playing with his daughter and his grandkids, all three side by side. I mean, it just makes you feel so good. It's wonderful. It's
Well,
wonderful.
speaking of the movie, you actually get to be on set with The Rock, and I mean, as your film background and your passion for it, that must have been pretty amazing. How describe that day for us?
Oh, it's kind of hard. Now, I do tend to ramble, so please cut me off.
Go ahead. That's all right.
Please cut me off. It was fantastic. The producer I was first asked to be an extra running through the streets of Chicago. Then they shot a cameo, which, spoiler alert, ended up on the cutting room floor. Then they invited me down during the last week of shooting. I got to meet everybody. I got to find out how they arrived at the storyline. I was taking a picture at the end of the day, and they were filming literally the last scene of the movie behind me. And all of a sudden I hear, stop, I'm going to be part of this. And Dwayne and Naomi came running down to join the photograph with that they were taking with the producer and director and everything. And he is even nicer than everybody says he is. He's an incredibly nice guy. I was grinning like a 10-year-old the whole day. My dimples were on the top of my flipping head, It was wonderful. Yeah. And as a filmmaker who never went into film really, it was a dream come true.
Very cool. Well, let's get into your new arcade game, Spooky Smashers. I can see your cartoon love and love for movies again kind of come into this game. Tell us about the game and the backstory.
Well, the concept was from the people at Arcade Monsters, and they contacted us and said, we want to do this, but we need it in this amount of time. And it's like, okay, well, we're going to have to, it's going to be a really aggressive thing. And he wanted to do a game, we did this game basically as a tribute to his fans, to his players. I mean, characters in the game are based on favorite players, employees, just the whole kind of vibe that they adopted as an arcade. Wow. Is kind of condensed into this game. It's ridiculous on so many levels. Arcade Monsters, you're thinking Frankenstein and Dracula and what?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it's whimsical, kooky little monsters who, in a kind of a electronic dance music format, spooky electronic dance music.
Yeah.
It's been really crazy fun to work on.
Very cool. So is this exclusively Arcade Monsters? I take it down.
Initially, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Anyway, initially it's at Arcade Monsters, arcades only. We're doing a kind of a nice sneak peek here in 2 weeks. Going to let people play it. I believe there's going to be a tournament.
There's going to be a tournament November 20th. Yeah,
you know more than I do. But I will be down there. I think they're bringing down several members of the team, so it should be a lot of fun. And then I believe it's exclusive to Arcade Monsters arcades for a while. And we're going to talk about where they want to go with it next. That's going to be a big part of my weekend down there.
Cool. Well, are you going to be doing a signing there? Can people bring items to sell? How much do you charge? I mean, if I brought my arcade one up, could you?
Yes. No, short answer is I think it's absurd for people to pay for an autograph. That's just me. If I'm defacing something of yours, I do not expect you to pay me for it. So bring your arcade one-up header. If you've got any ports of my old games, I've done about 90 games. I'm known for Rampage, but
yeah,
if you've got anything that I've done, bring it. I'm happy to sign it. I will be bringing, I don't know if I haven't told anybody yet, but I will be bringing some original posters of Spooky Smashers as well. And those I'll be selling the posters, but the autographs are free. So
awesome. Very cool. Well, everyone go to arcademonsters.com. Anything else you're working on or you're allowed to talk about and tease before I let you go? Or
for a long time, the first game we ever did after I left Midway, I did a game for Electronic Arts and we formed our own company, Game Refuge. The first game we ever did 30 years ago, we did General Chaos, which was like the #1 non-licensed original game EA had that year. And the fans have been asking for a remake forever. And it finally, the development was funded this spring. So we've been working on that. That'll come out next year. I'm super excited about it because it used to be a Sega Genesis D-pad game, and it's going to be fantastic. I'm really excited about that. That's coming out next year. And well, that's all I can talk about. That's all I can talk about right now. We've got a lot going on. It's been a great year. It's been a great year.
All right. Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking your time to talk to me, and keep up the amazing work.
Thank you. And I'm glad you enjoy it. I have a ball doing it.